Greetings, Bat fans. This is Batman.
And Robin, the Boy Wonder.
And me too, Batmite.
Welcoming you to the new adventures of Batman. Watch us wage our never-ending battle of good versus evil.
Ride with us as we chase the greatest array of villains the world has ever seen, proving that crime does not pay.
Get set for thrills and action. Join me, Batman.
And me, Robin the Boy Wonder.
And Batgirl. And me too, Batmite.
In the super new adventures of
Batman.
Welcome back, citizens, to an all-new episode of the Batcave podcast. It's your old bat chum, John S. Drew here. And, well, you know, I said this to my co-host here, and let me bring him in right off the bat and introduce him here from the Comic Book Central podcast, Mr. Joe Stuber. Hey, Joe.
John, I've got my snack ready. I've got a heaping bowl of popcorn with the bat logo on it. I may have left it in the microwave a little too long.
So, yeah.
It smells a little burny. It smells a little burny, like that bird popcorn smell in here. I don't know why. It's hot buttered, though. It's hot buttered. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. And as I was starting to say, I said this to you, and you were, I think, a little surprised when we were messaging back and forth. I'm going to plant my flag here as this one being the best one.
Of all time, of the run.
So to this point.
Yeah.
To this point.
Everything that could be great about Batman and Robin in 1977 is summed up in this episode. I feel like Ed McMahon.
You know something? Yes. I'm going to say it. Yes.
I thought you were going to go with "you are correct."
Oh yes, there you go.
I was trying to say you have a little Ed McMahon. It's okay. Look, I'm old. I'm ancient. I did that on the IndieCast. It wasn't picked up there either. So. My Ed McMahon, I think my days of referencing Ed McMahon may be over.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have picked up on that.
No, I'm forever old. So there you go.
I am caught up in the wonder and glory of this story. I am telling you, I just grinning from ear to ear. There were a few little niggles along the way that I was kind of like, whoa, that okay, but overall, I mean, right down to this episode has the best holy exclamations from Robin in the entire 77 series.
Oh, there's a ton of them. I couldn't even keep up with them. Sometimes I take notes and I'm writing them in. I couldn't even keep up with Burt Ward as he was screaming these things out. And he commits to all of them. He commits to every one of them.
Yes, he does.
There's a lot to like about this episode. There's a lot wonky about this episode. But again, isn't that typical? Isn't that on brand for this series?
Yes.
Spoiler alert. I kind of like this one too. All the tropes come in. All the 77 tropes come in. We've got them all here. We've got a cool villain in Clayface. Again, he returns. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about this one.
And I got to say, if you were following our 68 reviews also of the Filmation show, the plot may sound similar because they did do an episode kind of like this called Will the Real Robin Please Stand Up?
Yeah, and I think they did. They do this on the 66 series too. Like it's like I said, all the tropes. Even in this series, I think they did it. I think they did it earlier, where there was like, it's Batman and Robin. No, it's not Batman and Robin.
Yes,
arrest them. Could have been jail. It returns, but their tropes are tropes because they're fun, right?
Yes,
they become that. So I think that's fine. Dead Ringers is the episode, and wasn't that an episode of the Batman 66 series? I think that was the one with Liberace.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, you're right.
Dead Ringer. So they're even going back to that. So yeah, there's a lot of familiarity in this episode, but I think it's pretty cool.
It's very cool. Very cool. April 28th, 1977, written by Len Jansen.
Yeah. And we've talked about Len a lot on this. So if you missed our Len chat, go back and listen to we've talked about them all. He was we haven't seen Clayface in a sense curses oiled again, right?
Yes.
He turned into a whale in that one. Len Jensen wrote that one, so we know he likes him some Clayface, and he's still going after oil. So
yes.
We're revisiting a lot in this episode. They're still fixated on the oil crisis. Maybe Len Jensen had problems getting gas. This had to have been the time when you remember. Look, back in the days. Here I'm being old again. Here's your head. Remember, you pull in a gas station if you had an odd number license plate, and you could only get gas on certain days, and then the even license plate. Maybe Len couldn't get gas one day and thought, you know what? I'm just writing this into some Batman episodes.
He's fantastic.
You know, there's something awfully familiar about that boy.
Excuse me, are you Kit Martin?
That's right.
Could I talk to you for a moment, privately?
Yeah, sure.
See you later, Kit. How would you like to become an instant millionaire?
Well, who wouldn't? Depends on what I have to do.
Put on this mask. You're a dead ringer for Robin, the boy wonder.
Yeah, so?
With your help, my boy, I can guarantee that we can pull off the greatest crime of the century and become instant millionaires. You could buy this circus and 10 more like it. Are you interested?
Sorry, mister. I got a job.
You won't have it long if I let your boss know that you were in jail at one time for robbery.
All right. What do I have to do?
Oil-based as Clayface is after these plans for an oil-finding device that are being delivered by an Arabian oil minister.
Yeah, and switching it up a little bit on Clayface too with the voice. Did you notice? I think they added a voice synthesizer on this one. I think it wasn't in the first one.
No.
It pops up again later, I think. But they kind of did a groovy thing with his voice that I like. I don't know that we talked about Clayface's history in the last time around. Created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane. I just reading this off, but the original Clayface was Basil Carlo.
Yes,
made his first appearance in Detective Comics issue 40. That was in June 1940. B-list actor. He appeared twice in the Golden Age. Inspiration for the shape-shifting Silver Age version. Speaking of Batman 66, I think they gave this name to Falseface in the new comic book. So anyway, and then if you look at the Batman 66 series, the intro, the little animated intro, Clayface is in there. So it kind of, there's some tie-ins here to Batman 66 a little bit. And then we get Matt Hagen in the 50s. There was another one that's sort of this falls into a pool of radioactive protoplasm. So there's that falling into chemicals kind of thing. And then 78, Preston Payne was the third Clayface. So anyway, there's some history on your Clayface there. But this would be like the 50s, the version that was introduced in the 50s.
Right, because he can do the shape changing and such. Because the first Clayface couldn't.
Right, and then 78 was when they switched to the third Clayface. So it was the year after this episode. So we get that Matt Hagen version of that. So that just gives you a little bit of Clayface background.
Right. And a little bit of trivia there, because I've actually been reading the 40s comics and I've already read the issues with Clayface. That was Bruce Wayne's, also around that time, Bruce Wayne's first girlfriend, who left him to go pursue a movie career, and she changed her name to Portia Storm. Later, she would be picked up again in like the 2000s, and she's still an actress, but now she's an adult movie actress.
Oh, I don't remember any of that. Well, that would have made a very interesting Batman animated episode.
Yes, right.
I'm sure Batmite would have been really thrilled with that version. Yeah. He would have forgotten all about Batgirl with that.
Exactly, right?
We know Batmite's a little horn dog.
Yes. Now, as I said, this is, in a sense, it's taken from a similar story from the 68 series there, where it's Robin who's being, mimicked, but not by Clayface. Clayface finds a young man who is at the circus. He's an acrobat, and he convinces him to help him with, his scheme and such. And I thought this was interesting, though, because just like the 68 one, Clayface never says, you look like Dick Grayson. It's more, you look like Robin.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's the cool thing too, is because we kind of get, it's Kit Martin is his name. I'm guessing Lou Scheimer, who voices Batmite. I'm guessing Lou Scheimer voiced Kit, because doesn't he sound a little bit like Batmite, like a different, like a deeper version of it or something like that. But what I thought was cool about this version was he's kind of like a Dick Grayson, Jason Todd combo. That's what I got from it. So you get the circus performer, obviously, Matt finds him at the circus. Right. But he's also a juvenile delinquent. He always also did time.
Yes.
So that's what he blackmails him with. He's like, hey, if you don't want me to tell your boss, you're a criminal. And then he knows his career's over. He wants to be in the circus. So I kind of got like a combo platter of Robins here, the Dick Grayson, Jason Todd combo. I thought it was cool. Again, it's somebody going to imitate Batman and Robin. And of course, they're going to get away with it. But yeah, it is pretty cool. And I do think Scheimer voiced him.
Yeah, no, I give him credit this time for actually having somebody else voice the faux Robin, because in the 68 version, Casey Kasem did both voices, and he just sort of like toughened up his voice for the other guy.
You can still tell you can always tell it's Casey Kasem. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I did like it. I like the fact, the minister arrives and he's picked up basically by Batman and Robin, but it isn't Batman and Robin. It's Clayface and Kit, as Robin and such. And I also, there was I don't know why this struck me this time, and I liked it because they've got, the news covering it. So we see our newscaster and we see our reporter, and they're not white.
Turning to the local news. The Arabian oil minister, Faisal Oran, is due to arrive shortly at Gotham City Airport. And we now switch you to our remote unit and roving reporter, Debbie Yamamoto.
Popcorn ready yet, Dick?
Hold your horses, Bruce. It's coming.
Faisal Oran has just arrived at Gotham City Airport with tight police security under the personal supervision of Commissioner Gordon. Oran is here with top-secret plans for an oil-finding device that supposedly will revolutionize the petroleum industry.
Dick, is something burning?
I hope you like it. Well done.
Oran is now shaking hands with Commissioner Gordon, who will escort the minister to his hotel, where he will meet tomorrow morning with top city officials to discuss the new invention.
My mouth was watering for some hot buttered popcorn.
Well, it's hot. Would you like me to butter it?
And here come Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin?
Who are taking the minister to their car. Commissioner Gordon appears somewhat stunned by the whole thing and is now going after the dynamic duo.
Let's go, Dick. We'll take the Batcopter.
Right behind you, Bruce.
Because the thing is, I was just thinking about it, because the other day, I'm doing the Super Friends podcast as well. Not a whole lot of diversity in there until they start introducing Black Vulcan and Apache Chief and stuff. But even then, those are just the superheroes. Like, we don't see a lot of non-white people.
Yeah, just the population of Gotham City or something. Right.
So this was very refreshing to see.
Yeah, and I like that about that. That's a huge thing in the 70s. Marvel did that, obviously, with a lot of the comic books. Marvel was, lead, cutting edge as far as that's concerned. One of my favorite shows of all time was The Electric Company, and did that all the time. Like, make sure everybody was included on that. Sesame Street did that in the 70s. So we saw a lot of these things coming into the 70s, and I like that this series is a reflection of that as well. That's pretty cool.
Yes, I agree. Totally agree. So, Batman and Robin are called in because they're seen to go off with the minister there. They're chasing
Faisal Oran, right? Is he the Arabian oil minister? Yeah. Yes. He's got this. It's an oil finding device. Whatever that means. I don't know. It's science. Okay. He did the blueprints for this thing, and it's top secret. Everything's about oil. In this series. Yeah. And so they walk off. Of course they walk off with him. And Gordon is none the wiser. Of course.
No. But I thought this was interesting because they're giving chase then in the Batcopter to get them there quicker. And it also helps in a way because then it's like there's only one Batmobile on the ground because they've also got a fake Batmobile, which has the ability to change as well, like Clayface, because they turn it into a van.
Yeah, it's another one of those tropes that's familiar with the series. It's like the villain always has tech, that's better than whatever it is they're going after. If you had a car that could do these things, that's probably worth much more than the oil finding device.
Yes.
You could revolutionize the auto industry. I don't know. It's just crazy. But yeah, Bruce and Dick, look, my popcorn reference earlier was that, obviously they find out about this because they're sitting they really need Alfred in this series. Dick can't even make popcorn without burning it.
No, true.
It's things like that where I'm like, man, Alfred really would have been cool here because he probably would have brought him like some charcuterie or, like a glass of wine or, maybe a glass of scotch or something like that. And it's like, no, they got Dick in the kitchen burning the popcorn. But anyway, good thing because they got to get out of there. The whole Wayne Manor stinks like burnt popcorn. They got to go give chase. But yeah, it does get us in the Batcopter again. It's cool to see that.
It's cool to see that. And it also gives us a brief, and I thought this was weird. It was a brief scene with Batmite appearing and getting his catchphrase out there and everything, and then quickly leaving.
It was a very quick brush off.
Yeah.
But I think we'll see that in this episode and the next episode we talked about. Very early quick brush offs to Batmite. But again, I'm going to say this to all the haters out there, all the Batmite haters out there. He saves the day.
He does.
All he wants to do is help, and he does. Mm-hmm. So they brush him off quickly, but he comes back in a strong way in this one.
Yep, absolutely. They have to break off the pursuit because they see the bat signal, and they go back to Gordon's office and stuff, and he's got to arrest them because he saw them leave with the minister.
Sure, why not? I mean, we see that all the time. I mean. But at least he gives him 2 hours.
Yes.
Some leave time to go solve the case. I have to arrest you, but I'm going to let you go and solve the case for 2 hours. So we at least have some resolution to it. There's a weird thing where there's a portrait of Gordon on the wall.
Yes.
Which is kind of creepy that he has. I always mistrust people that have portraits of themselves in their own,
Yes,
but Clayface is the portrait. He can really transform into things in this one.
Oh yeah, he has a great transformation a little later on in the episode that I love. Yeah. I was like, why didn't Clayface ever think of this in the comics?
Right. Yeah, we're really pushing it, but it does make for some cool visuals. You mentioned the holies. I mean, holy vacancies, holy TKO, holy short memories, holy forget-me-nots. It's the holy. There's a lot of them. It's too much to keep up with. Hey, they're like going after them, and there's like they come up against this 2 hours that they have to go solve the crime. They find this driverless truck.
Yes,
and Batman crashes it, jumps into it and then crashes it, but he gets amnesia. That's like a trope of every show ever in the 70s. Oh, they get amnesia. What are they going to do? Apparently, though, the Bat computer can cure it.
I'm afraid we've got a problem, Bat computer. Batman hit his head, and now he's got amnesia.
Amnesia? My, that is a problem.
You've got to help him, Bat computer.
I can cure him of the amnesia, but it will take time.
We've got less than an hour to prove our innocence to those oil dudes.
I'll take care of Batman and contact you when he's recovered.
Right. I'll take the Batcopter and see if Batgirl can lend me a hand.
The Batcomputer can do everything.
Now, were you thrown off, though, by Robin talking about the oil dudes? I thought that was a little un-Robin. And again, because it's Burt Ward saying it, it didn't work.
It didn't. I didn't make any note of it, so probably not. I think maybe I was just so bowled over by all the holy holies. So
right,
maybe I just got caught up in Bert's holy whatevers. But we get the amnesia trope again. But the cool thing is, though, we get Batgirl because Batman's out of commission.
Yes.
So Batgirl has to come in, and we get a Batgirl and Robin team up, which is cool because they end up going to the circus later, which is really cool because they get to do some cool stuff at the circus.
Yes, they do. And that's where one of my little niggles is at the circus, which we'll talk about there. But the whole thing in the Batcave, because, Robin, brings back Batman to the Batcave and stuff. And like you said, the Batcomputer is working on it. But meanwhile, Clayface has managed to turn into the grill in the front of the Batmobile.
Right.
So he's in the Batcave.
Hey, if he can transform into a portrait of Gordon, why can't he be the grill of the Bat? But if the Batcomputer can cure amnesia, can it figure out that there's a guy as the grill? I don't know. Anyway, suspending disbelief here. But this does give us a cool element of a villain in the Batcave, which we've seen in the 66 series, which we like when they infiltrate the inner sanctum, right?
Yeah.
And of course, he would do what a villain would do, rip his mask off. That's what you do. I always hate when I'm like, I think in this first Spider-Man film, with Tobey Maguire, it's like, Green Goblin could have ripped his mask off and he didn't. He was unconscious. I'm like, well, why didn't he take his mask off? But here Clayface is going to, but who saves the day?
Batmite.
Yeah, because all he wants to do is help, and he does.
Yes, and it leads to, pretty extensive sequences. He's basically keeping Clayface busy while the Batcomputer works on the solution. Clayface turns into an eagle, flies after Batmite. Batmite traps him. I mean, this whole thing, and then he turns into a mouse, and he runs into a hole. So Batmite's got to go after him, and I mean, it's well done. It's not, one of the things we talk about on the Super Friends show was especially with the first season is how stupid, basically, for lack of a better word, some of the sequences with Wendy Marvin and Wonder Dog were, and how they padded out the show and just really stopped everything. Here, it's goofy, but at the same time, it's essential because Batman's out of commission.
He's out of commission. And there's one thing, if I could go back and just change thing or, tap the writer on the shoulder and say, look, can we try this? I thought it would have been cool if in the process of Batmite distracting Clayface and sort of leading him off on the search, if he would have tripped Batman somehow. And then Batman falls and knocks himself on the head, which is the old 70s trope of I got conked on the noggin and my memory came back. That always happens.
Yes.
And I thought that would have been a cool thing to do instead of just having the Batcomputer solve it. Like come up with a solution. How does he do it? What does that even mean? And again, why wouldn't Batman apply that to everybody with amnesia? He could solve, cure cancer, but I think it's like, if you're going to do tropes, it would have been cool if he just would have knocked his head, but he doesn't. But like you said, we do get this. He's got this teeny little bat walkie-talkie and flashlight that he goes into these little caverns with, and he goes all through the cave. You mentioned a rabbit, a dolphin. So he becomes a dolphin, which means water, which means the Batboat.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, always working these things. How did this thing, we say it a million times, how did this thing not have a toy line? I have no idea. But I would have killed for the Batboat and a Batmite and a Wayne Manor and the whole thing. And we've said it a million times, but I still want it.
I know. I said the same thing. I was thinking, especially this, because we get it all. We get Batmobile, Batcopter, and Batboat, which will become the Bat Sub. So it's all good. There was one thing though that you mentioned the Batcomputer, and one thing I've noticed as we've been tracking through these episodes, the Batcomputer is becoming more and more prominent. It's having a bigger role in episodes. It's sentient, and
it's definitely sentient. Yes,
and it got. Well, but it got me thinking.
Your antidote is working, Batcomputer. My memory's coming back.
You should have complete recovery very quickly, Batman.
Because we've talked about how this particular series introduced some concepts that got picked up by the comics and later cartoons and stuff. And I got to wonder, was the Batcomputer ever sentient? I mean, yeah, it was used for things to process data, even the 66 show. But literally, did the Batcomputer talk to Batman until this point, at any point up to this point in the comics?
Yeah, it wasn't jumping out at me. I'm sure some of the listeners out there might be able to jump in with something. I mean, there's probably an obscure comic where it talks about that. But I've noticed that more and more. It's taken on a personality. It's snarky. It's got attitude. It's got emotions. It's kind of almost like Hal from 2001, but on acid, even more so. And yeah, it's its own entity, but it does become I don't even know the phrase. What is the Deus Ex Machina? You get
God
to the end
machine.
and it's this quick solve for anything you need. some of the writers do lean a little bit on that, of the bat computer being the cure all. But I don't know. It's a cool enough episode that I'm kind of okay with it. And like I said, we do get some cool things. We look, I like Robin and Batgirl at the circus trying to get Kit. You don't like it as much. See, to me, that like puts Dick back in his element, and they get to go bouncing around on these higher wire acts and kind of do things. I don't know. I kind of thought that was cool.
It was cool, except for one little thing. I would have loved a line where Robin says, I was a trapeze artist once. I was a circus performer once.
Well, wouldn't that have given away his secret identity? Because he was a high wire act as Dick Grayson.
True, but he's,
Even if he had said it to Batgirl.
Even if he just said it to Batgirl, yeah.
Well, but they were still in that we're hiding our secret identity, because I don't think we go back and forth on that, because I think one episode they do know she's Barbara, right? If I remember back, yep. I forget now, but who knows what they remember, what they don't. Maybe they have amnesia. I don't know.
No, it's because it's funny because, again, going back to Super Friends, the end of the first season, Robin very casually tosses out at one point, because Superman and the Wonder Twins, Wendy and Marvin, right? Yeah. They go to the circus, and Robin goes, "I would have liked to have gone to the circus. I was a circus performer until my parents were killed in a tragic accident." And then it's like, boom, they move on from there. And myself and Dan Greenfield are like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Are you Dick Grayson? Are you I don't know. I just like seeing him bounce around on tight ropes and off the,
Oh no, I loved all that. I had no problem with it. I just would have loved, for the continuity's sake, some sort of mention. That's just the continuity in me. That's all.
Well, no, and that's, Len writing it. Maybe he didn't know that, because, we talked to some of these folks and it's like they know something about the lore, but maybe they didn't know everything about it. So, right. Maybe just happenstance wrote in a circus performer and didn't realize that Dick was a circus performer. And some of these writers, they're writing episodes of Shazam, they're writing episodes of, ISIS, whatever, Fat Albert. And then, maybe they knew that, maybe he didn't. Maybe it didn't work its way in, but a cool element to be in. And also a cool element is the water for Clayface. And you referenced this earlier, one of the greatest transformations, and totally perfect in the 70s. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yes, when because basically Batman gets his memory back and follows after Clayface in the Batboat when he's a dolphin, but he then turns into a shark.
Oh, that scene alone is worth the price of admission on this episode. You get a perfect homage to Jaws coming up, and almost every comic book cover at that time, every magazine cover, every comic book cover, they did an homage to Jaws. I remember Superman did it. Spidey Super Stories did it. Everybody had the shark coming up from the bottom, and they do it here, and it's brilliant. I wanted more shark. I wanted more Clayface's shark, but we can't get it because at midnight, Clayface is going to turn back human and die.
Well, is that an element from the comics, or is that something they just did for this?
Well, okay, so here's what I found out. It says, after escaping from Greenwell's, this is the comic book version, the 50s we talked about earlier, the Matt Hagen. Okay. After escaping from Greenwell's maximum security prison, upon having stashed some chemicals there, Clayface eventually copies the pool's protoplasmic jelly by chemistry studies, although the artificial protoplasm only allows him 5 hours of his power compared to the full 2 days of the pools. So there is this like time element to this thing. They've got it distilled into this like little vial of chemicals that he has to take, that somehow he gave to Kit to hold. And like, why would you got a jacket on, dude? Like, just put it in the pocket, right?
He gave that to Kit, and he gave the plans to Kit, because Kit turns both over to Gordon.
Right. So, I mean, like people with asthma don't leave the house without their puffer. Why is he leaving the house without his chemicals? I don't know, but he's screwed. I mean, he's down under the water and he can't swim.
No.
So why is he bopping around as Jaws, knowing the clock's ticking? And then Batman goes, "Yeah, that's gonna be a problem."
Yes, I know.
Adam doesn't even care. He's like, "Yeah, It's too bad. Anyway, he rescues him and takes him up, and it's fine, and they get turned in. But yeah, he hits him with some goo. It looks like oil.
Yeah.
Thing. But holy pollution, Batman. Are you polluting the seas?
The seas.
What's going on? Gotham Harbor, wherever you're at? I don't know.
I gotta say,
so many cool moments in this episode, not to like the episode, though.
Yeah, no, and I love the final image of Clayface in handcuffs with Gordon and the flanking of police officers around. I just thought that was a really cool image.
Yeah, finally we get to see Gordon's men. He's like, you want my men to show up? No, we got this. Well, apparently somebody's got to trot him up. Yeah, Clayface his hair's all messed up, and it's not like the standard stock animation they use. It looks like they put a little work onto that one. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. Bad guys get their comeuppance. Why not?
I agree. Totally loved it myself. Like I said, the little things aside, this was just fun. It moves fast. Yeah. Definitely a must watch in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd give it that one. I kind of like this one. It does run out of gas in places. Want pun intended. Give you that. But overall, there's enough pedal to the metal. I think we got on this one.
Yeah.
This Sunday, CBS Sports presents the year's most entertaining events as Farrah Fawcett Majors takes the court against Bill Cosby. And tennis will never be the same. On the obstacle course, Penny Marshall challenges Robert Conrad. Red Fox at billiards facing a determined Roz Kelly. A fast and furious ping-pong game with Phyllis George versus O.J. Simpson. On skateboard, the graceful Christy McNichol. Her challenger, the rugged Dawn Haggerty. These are just a few of the television and movie stars taking part in a high-spirited head-to-head sports competition not to be missed. Join Susan Howard as she tries to outscore her competitor, Gabe Kaplan. The women battle the men, and may the best person win in a CBS Sports special. Celebrity Challenge of the Sexes. This Sunday at 8, 7 Central Time.
Friday on Nashville 99.
It's got to be a safe big enough to make it worth a trip all the way down from Chicago.
Stoney tracks a hitman through the streets of Nashville before he strikes again.
The department won't put up with hot dogs, and that's what you've become. You may have forgotten, but there are plenty of others who remember what it's like on the street.
See Chet Atkins and Charlie Pride on Nashville 99. Friday at 9, 8 Central.
I hope she's got something. She got everything.
This is CBS.
Bat message.
Those secret plans for the oil-finding device are back in safe hands, and Clayface looks like he's found a new home. By the way, Batman, how's your head?
My head?
You had amnesia, remember?
Oh, amnesia? Right. I forgot about that.
I wonder if she likes short guys.
And once again, Bat message. There's no Bat message.
At this point, they've given up.
They have. Really, at this point, they have.
It's just like it's a kind of a recap. It's like a Bat recap. It's like the plans for the oil finding device are in the right hands once again. And then this, to me, shouldn't the Bat message be everyone deserves a second chance?
There you go.
Kit was a juvenile delinquent. He goes in the circus. He's trying to make a name for himself. Mm-hmm. Everybody deserves a second chance. That was a perfect Bat message. They missed the opportunity there. We'll create our own Bat message. Bat message. Everyone deserves a second chance. Don't judge a book by its cover. So, I don't know.
Everyone deserves a second chance. And when given that second chance, don't ruin it by falling back into old habits.
Yeah, don't get involved with ne'er-do-wells. Turn into sharks.
Yes.
That might be too long a Bat message. I'll tighten that one up. And then Batmite kisses a picture of Batgirl. Sure, why not?
Sure.
Is an amnesia joke. Yeah, it's fine. Overall, there's too much to like about this episode to take a pass on it. So
Right, exactly. All right, then. Well, as we wrap up this episode of the Batcave podcast, Joe, what's happening over at Comic Book Central?
So much is happening over at Comic Book Central. Man, you got to visit it. Like, if you're a Star Trek fan, You're going to love a lot of the guests I've had on this past season. Will Wheaton, Denise Crosby from the Next Generation, Christina Chong from Strange New Worlds. She dropped by. Yep. Smallville. If you're a fan of Smallville, I chatted with Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum. They have a new podcast out called Talkville, so I got to do a video version of that with them. So that's also on YouTube. Superman, Tim Daly. Man, when does Tim Daly do interviews? Yeah. He was on Comic Book Central twice. I got to meet up with him again at Terrificon too. So there's 2 Tim Daly episodes out there. I took Comic Book Central on the road this summer. We're getting back to conventions again. So I went to a bunch that I've been missing. Got my trips to Fanboy Expo Columbus. Lee Majors. Yes. $6 million man. Yes, it's brief. Yes, it's quick. Yes, it's a quick hit, but he wasn't going to do an interview at all. Yeah. He doesn't do interviews. I've been trying to get him on the show forever. You know this. Yeah, I know. And right. Yeah. You've been trying to get, I've been trying to get him too. Yeah, it's like, I know. Yeah, no. I had the recorder there, and I think, as I mentioned, Richard Anderson, Richard had the honor of having late grade, and he kind of looked at me and he goes, "All right, hit record. What do you want to know?" So I got to get him right before he went off to a photo shoot. I got the photo shoot with him. Anyway, that's out there. Motor City Comic Con, they had a Christopher Reeve tribute. That's all out there. Marvel Universe of Superheroes. I visited that here in Columbus. Terrificon, of course, a ton of Q&As. The Shazam Q&A. Man, Michael Gray, John Davey. Yes. Jerry Ordway joined us. Don Glute joined us, writer of one of the episodes. So that was amazing. That's out there. Justice League animated. Christy Swanson. I've been doing the Phantom episodes. Got a Q&A with her out there as well. Speaking of the Phantom, James Remar and Treat Williams from that movie. They joined me as well. Depending on when this airs, the Comic Book Central 9th anniversary special is coming up, or maybe it's out there already. I don't know. Yeah, so much going on. So yeah, thanks for asking about it, and having a blast, just catching up with folks and getting back to in-person activities again. That's been fun.
That's been the best part.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I agree. Just getting out there and just seeing people, getting pictures taken with them. Getting a picture taken with Michael Gray and John Davey. Come on. I mean, for Shazam fans like us, Filmation fans like us. Yep. Is it getting better?
Yeah. No,
and Lee. I mean, come on.
Lee, you got a picture with Lee. I mean,
Oh, that's my idol, man. I literally half my youth was spent just running around the house going da 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 da.
See, I got mine. We're on video as we're recording this. I got mine with Lee and Lindsay and my wife.
I got to get Lindsay at some point. I haven't crossed paths. She's been on the show, but haven't crossed paths in person. So I envy that picture. I'm getting close. One more I can sneak in. We'll see.
Right. And folks, make sure you're checking this all out on any of the popular podcast catchers, and even some of the more unpopular ones. Well, no, because it's the strangest thing, Joe. Like, I turn around and it's like, how did Batcave get on this thing? I didn't put it there. And then just people take our RSS feeds, and I'm like, go for it, put it out there. Let's share the layer, as you would say.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I always love when people do that. It's out there, and I appreciate you having me on this podcast too, because we get to nerd out about one of our favorite characters, Batman. So. Always love that.
And of course, you can see the whole repository over at comicbookcentral.net.
That's where it is. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Spotify. Who knows? Like you said, it's we're everywhere. We don't even know where podcasts end up. Yeah. Maybe on the radio. Maybe it's on the AM radio somewhere. I don't know how that works.
Could you imagine that?
You tune in 750 or something. There's a podcast. Yes. Somebody do that. Some nerd put them on some radio. Put them on ham radio. Is ham radio still a thing? I think we're on ham radio. Sure, why not? Why not?
I think Robin listens in every once in a while.
Only ham radio.
Only ham radio or CB radio.
Only CB. Oh, wouldn't that be great? We should do that. We should record a podcast on CB radio. I don't even know if that's a thing. We can make Ed McMahon references and be very, very old.
There you go. Well, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the Batcave podcast. Stay tuned. Joe and I will be back really soon as we're dealing with a story where the Joker and Penguin are together for the first time since Scooby-Doo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're not exactly working together, though. In a way, it's primarily a Penguin-centered story, but Joker does appear.
He does. So you get that dastardly duo. Sure, why not?
Yeah. There you go. Or as the title says, birds of a feather fool around together.
They do. What does that mean? We'll find out.
We will find out, folks. So stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for all the great programming I've got coming up here as well on the Batcave podcast by, again, checking out those popular or the unpopular podcast catchers, or heading on over to thebatcavepodcast.com.
Oh, and congratulations, too, for making Podcast Magazine's Hot 50 list.
Yes. Thank you for that. I would never. Now I'm like, checking every week to see where.
Of course you should. We all should. Podcast Magazine, go hit their Hot 50 list and put the links up there. I think you put the link up there.
Yes,
vote every day. You can vote every day. You can vote
Mm-hmm.
every day. Did I mention, John, you can vote every day?
Every single day.
Pick three of your favorites.
And I'm in good company because the IndieCast and Comic Book Central are there as well.
We're all up on the list. So send us to the top. Make us 1, 2, and 3. You can vote every day. Have we mentioned you can vote every day?
I'll put the links in the show notes, folks, for you there.
Vote every day.
There you go. So until next time, Joe, thank you once again for doing this.
Thank you, my friend.
Folks, have yourselves a great week. Take care, everybody.